Hello, everybody, and happy Friday the 13th. This is our 10th special episode here on Film Seizure. I am Jeff Arbuckle. With me, as always, Jason Oliver. Say hey, Jason.
Hey, Jason.
Oh, gosh. Oh, jeez, stop.
Chichi Mama.
And that is Chuck Moore. Chuck, how's it going?
It's going, man.
I don't think
Juicy.
that there is. I don't think that there's a Chuck or a Jeff in these movies.
I don't recall any.
Yep. So how about that? Anyway,
There's definitely a Jason in every single one of them.
that is true. Even the first one, when you don't think that it is,
Yeah.
he's there.
Right.
He's still there.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, we have come to the end of the Friday the 13th franchise. And as I said on Wednesday, I believe this was part of our Sexy Beast episode, I am fine if they don't make any more. However, I do have requests if they make more. So we'll see about that. But, yes, so this is the 2009 Friday the 13th. Well, who directed this? Never heard of him. Anyway, so
Nice.
this is a movie that's produced by Michael Bay. And I'm going to say it off the top, even though I have severe reservations. This is the best of the quote-unquote bad Friday the 13th movies. Which, as I said to Jason...
Yeah, what are you lumping in with
Our
those?
Jason. not I am buddies with Jason Voorhees. He comes over for beers every Tuesday. But no, so if you look at like 8, 9, 10, and this one, and I'd probably go ahead and throw in 5, sort of, although I think 5 is underrated. Most people would say 5 is one of the bad ones. I'm not one of those people.
I like this better than 5. Or, I mean, I like 5 better than this.
Oh, okay. I
like
was going to
5
say
better
that. I'm a little surprised by that. But
No, I
if
like
we
5
were
better than this.
if we were to say 8, 9, 10, and this one, those 4, this one's the best one of.
I would say it's either the worst of the good movies or the best of the bad movies. So
That's fair.
I'm right there with you. I'd probably put it right in the middle if
Well-
I were ranking all of the movies.
It's like I said, this movie does just enough to get over the bar.
Yeah, and
I
it's
mean-
got good production value. There's some good stuff there, but there's
And
some
I
bad
do
stuff.
like the Jared Padalecki character.
Is he the
He's the
roamer?
lead, Clay. Yeah, Clay. Yeah, I do like him. But he's a likable actor anyway in things that I've seen him in. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, this is one of those movies that you're either in for it or you're not. You know, it's like this is one that plays constantly on AMC's Fear Fest during October. And sometimes I stop on it and I watch it. Sometimes I don't. And it's a mood type of movie, I think.
I think
I haven't
ahead,
seen
Jason.
it since I saw it in the theater. Even when we got the box sets, the Friday the 13th box sets, I stopped. I didn't watch it.
I was just about to say I've seen it 3 times since then.
Well, so Chuck definitely is on my side here, is either worst of the best or best of the worst.
Oddly, I've watched that whole set with the exception of X and Freddy vs. Jason 3 times.
It's kind of funny because I almost don't want to count Freddy versus Jason with the rest of them because it is such a different movie. But each time I see that one, I like it a little bit less.
Yeah, agreed.
It's chipping away because it is very dated.
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely dated, and it does. So my favorite word for this movie, for this one, is pastiche. Freddy vs. Jason does pastiche poorly. This one actually does it fairly well. It's just
Until
a little bit,
it stops.
well,
Yeah.
it's a little bit, yeah, right. It's a little haphazardly done in this at times, but that's one of the reasons why I like the Clay character, is because he is he's essentially the guy that Jason you like a lot in the fourth one.
Yeah. I mean, this movie is kind of like a mishmash of 1 through 4 when it comes right down to it.
Yeah, and I think when it's covering that territory, like the very beginning of this movie, maybe the first 30 minutes, I don't know. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like I like this movie to start it. It's the way
cold
that it
open is
handles,
good. Yeah.
What's it? Yeah, it is really good. Once
Yeah.
Jason becomes a character in the movie is when it starts to fail.
Yeah, and now, Jason, I know one thing that you had mentioned to me in private as we were kind of texting back and forth. I actually don't have too much of a problem with most of these characters being pretty unlikable, because there are 4 that you can kind of gravitate towards. I do think that they miss the boat with the most unlikable guy to do some really funny and kind of tongue-in-cheek stuff. Like at some point, that guy should be yelling at Jason about fucking up his parents' habit
Totally.
or something.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
they don't do that, that's when it steers more towards it being too serious, when it needed to take the left turn into, let's be campy about this a little bit. You've set these characters up to be campy. Do it.
He does one of the funniest things in the movie, though. That character.
Go for it. Let us know what that is.
When he's in the car and he screams to his high-pitched scream, it's freaking hysterical.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That is.
Yes, that is perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. But yeah, like the 4 characters that you kind of gravitate towards is is Crispin Glover's pal from number 4 that gets split into 2 potheads. Those guys are likable enough. And the Clay character, and I'm never not gonna like Daniel Panabaker in anything ever. Can't do it.
Yeah, she's fine in this. I like her in this. Those 2 guys, I even mentioned it while I was watching it, the 2 potheads that are split. I don't like them enough.
Yeah.
Like
They should be more likable.
Yes.
Well, they probably should have just been one character.
Probably.
That probably would have made them likable enough.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, the most redeeming part of those 2 characters is when the one guy goes to find the other one.
Right.
So they couldn't have done that if they were just one character. That'd have been weird.
I'm gonna go find myself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go smoke a fat bowl and find myself. He could have said that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like the main guy, Trent, I'm fine with him being that you root for him to die. He is plucked straight out of 7 with the hot blonde chick that's just a bitch to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And you root for her to kind of get it, and she gets it real bad. He's that character. So there's another pastiche from one that a lot of people like, one that's getting constantly reevaluated, I think. But like the 2 girls, Bree and Chelsea, I only know them apart from their boobs. And that's horrible to say. Jason, you got up and I said that the two blondes, because I was kind of going through the characters. I was saying, like, Trent, I like him because he's kind of a pastiche on the unlikable bitch in 7 that is just horrible to everybody, and you kind of root for him to die, and it's like you kind of got to have that a little bit for at least somebody to get it good. So I was fine with him, but the 2 blondes, I only knew them apart from their boobs.
Yeah.
And that's horrible to say, but they are the exact same person.
Yeah, pretty much.
One dies in the water. I don't even remember how the other one dies.
How does?
She dies in the bathroom. She gets
hung on the door.
And that would not have killed her, but that's okay. It's horror movie logic, whatever. I'm fine with these things.
Yeah.
I wish this movie was a little bit more fun. And that's why I'm okay with there not being another one of these, unless somebody comes along and says, it's going to be campy, no pun intended. But it's, we're not going to play for scares. Jump scares don't work in these movies. Jason Voorhees is not a scary character. So when it tries to it tries to balance this one kind of humanizing story with trying to find a girl, which I have no idea why Jason takes a hostage in this movie. That's not Jason.
He never would.
It's terrible. That's some stupid Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 shit. It works in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Does not work in this.
Right. We'll come back around because I know you're itching to talk about that. But like that's played very, very straight and serious. When Jenna dies in the escape at the end, that's played almost laughably dramatic. And it never, like, it also tries to be campy, like at the beginning with the people looking for the pot and just being goofballs, and the whole, the girl taking off her clothes while the other guy's trying to talk to the dude that she's trying to get the attention of. Like, all of that is funny and great. I mean, that's part of that. I
like all that stuff.
That's part of that first 30 minutes.
It's a very promising setup.
Yes.
And it's a very
what
promising.
You sell the movie on.
It's very promising because it's almost got two. It's got two epilogues, right?
Right.
And is epilogue right? And prologue. Sorry.
Although it could be an epilogue to the very, very beginning.
True.
Of the 1980 moment.
And it feels promising. And that first set of kids that all get killed in turn are pretty fun. Two of them are actually really likable. Two of them are kind of douchey but funny.
Yeah.
Right?
Funny
and then
enough.
and then they all get killed, and nobody's really quite as likable other than maybe Clay.
Right.
Since. Yeah.
The kid who says I'm not going out there with a boner kills me.
That kills me.
Yeah, right. Well, but he's all part of that moment where the girl is like taking off her clothes while the smart guy is trying to talk to him, and he's just not having it. He's like,
the force be with your Schwartz. That kills me. There's some good stuff in the beginning. Like, I actually think I'm always like
he cracks a Blue Velvet joke with the Heineken and Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Yep.
Well, it's almost like, I mean, let's see here. Who was the writer of this? See, okay, Damian Shannon and Mark Swift. One of those guys wrote the beginning.
Yeah.
One of those guys wrote the rest of the movie. That's what it feels like. I'm probably wrong. But that
is what it feels like.
It's what it feels like because it's totally different. The atmosphere is different too. It's like that's one of the things that
these guys both wrote Freddy vs. Jason also.
Now they were much more consistent with that.
Yes, they were.
Even though, like I said, I like it a little bit less each time I watch it. They're at least consistent in there, in that script. But it's one of those things. It's like we've never had a full Jason movie where it just takes place in the woods with tents. It always shifts away from that to a cabin or to a camp. Very rarely to a camp, but it never just stays in the woods. And so when that started like that, I was like, hey, I'm on board with this.
If we get an hour and 15-minute movie of these kids, I would have been totally cool with it.
Yeah.
Like, it may end up failing at some point, but most of them are more likable. The idea that someone the one girl survives, right? She gets taken as captive by Jason because she looks like his mother, which we already said he would never frickin' do. He'd never take a hostage.
I mean, they're just playing pastiche to the conclusion of part 2.
Right, but they also search for this girl for years and they never find his fucking cabin.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
It was 3 weeks.
Yeah. Still, they've all moved on elsewhere, is what the cop said. You should too. Yeah. It's like, really?
Yeah. If it's only 3 weeks, that is even more ridiculous. That 8 kids,
that's pathetic.
6 kids disappeared, and they're like, we're not doing anything with this anymore.
Yeah, we're gonna go to the next town.
And who the fuck is growing the weed? Like who?
I think it just grows wild. I mean it's a weed. I mean it grows wild.
Yeah.
just like the side of the road peppermint that you can pick there in Indiana. You just
Yeah,
look that shit right up. So, Jason, you want to kind of go in a little bit to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre of it all?
Well, yeah, I mean, they make him a character. They make him a distinct character with like a thought process and a motive and a mission. And I mean, at one point he's like turning on floodlights and stuff. It's like, what? Like, none of that makes sense. That's all Leatherface shit, right?
He looks in a damn mirror when he puts his mask on. It's
He admires himself in the mirror when he puts his hockey mask on.
Well, that's what you call fan service, though.
Yeah, but that's not good.
That's not good.
That's not good.
No, it's not. I wanted to see.
It just
more
didn't feel.
Baghdad
It just
Jason.
didn't feel like Jason.
Right. Well, would it surprise you that this was filmed entirely in Texas?
No.
There you go.
And directed.
I do also. It's kind of a neat thing, but they also more pastiched the Town That Dreaded Sundown than they did Baghead Jason.
Yes.
This Nispel guy, the director of this, also directed that 2003 remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, Well, it's also Platinum Dunes. Who
Yeah, they
was the
produced
production
both.
company.
Yep.
I don't necessarily have an issue with the 2003 TCM.
It's been too long ago for me to say one way or the other. I don't remember hating it. I'm pretty sure I saw it.
I think a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people lately say they like that.
I think
Like
all the
on
ones
Twitter
that followed weren't so good. It was diminishing returns.
That's
from
where
there.
the problems come up. Yeah.
Yeah. They started
yeah.
trying to making sequels and prequels to the remake, and it got real bad.
Yeah, and one would argue that it's not gotten any better.
No, but I still say I had fun with that new one, that new Texas Chainsaw
I
Massacre.
did not, but I did have a little bit more fun with this Friday the 13th movie. Yeah, so I mean, but no, I agree with you, Jason, that Jason is more like Leatherface in the sense that he takes a hostage. He kind of toys with her a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
He seems...
He sharpens his weapon, for Christ's sake. Jason Voorhees would never do that.
He would
just with whatever he found.
With whatever he found, and then he would replace a dull blade with the new blade from somebody that he killed.
Totally.
With the dull blade.
Yeah.
Although it does help him kill a woman under the under a dock.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because a dull blade is not going to go through a skull.
I don't know, in the hands of this maniac.
Yeah, I mean, that's always been the thing. Like, he's a little bit supernatural in how strong he is, right? A lot.
But they don't even explore that in this movie, really, at all.
Yeah, this isn't zombie Jason. This is original pre-death Jason.
Yeah, except for he was living underwater the whole time. Pre-death Jason is dead Jason already, but I get what you're saying.
Well, no, yeah, I know. Exactly. Well, no.
I know what you're saying. There becomes a point where he becomes the universal zombie.
The zombie Jason.
Monster.
Yeah, the rotting Jason.
It actually felt to me like the prologue cleared that up a little bit.
Exactly. Like he was just kind of there.
Yeah, he was hanging out with Mom, just off in the bushes. Yeah,
Well, I'm not even sure that it was that. I think she jumped to a conclusion that he was killed, drowning, and decided to start killing everybody who weren't doing their job, and he just got out of the lake.
Maybe. I don't know.
And
That's
he was
pretty
maybe
weird.
following her.
Maybe.
Maybe she didn't talk to herself. Maybe she was hearing him, like for real.
Mommy, kill her.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So well, I will say that one guy I don't think there was enough of was the Matthew McConaughey looking dude. Because while he wasn't around long enough to really fall totally into the likable cast, he did have a couple of funny moments. Like,
are you talking about Ryan Hansen?
The guy who drove the boat?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it actually is surprising because he's a pretty popular character on Veronica Mars at this point. And yeah, he is he's allowed to kind of play the same character in a way as he is in Veronica Mars, and then they just kill him.
But the whole thing with him saying, don't take the boat out or whatever, and then he's instantly taking the fucking boat out.
Yeah, that's a very Dick Casablancas move from Veronica Mars for sure. He'd be taking Logan's boat out.
but would his girlfriend be water skiing?
Probably
nude.
Probably.
Yeah? All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. I need to watch more of Veronica Mars, I guess.
I mean, she wouldn't be on the show. But
then never mind.
that would be very, very much a thing that he would still do. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about Jason's shot there?
That was pretty good.
He's a marksman.
That was a
Jesus
little
Christ.
bit. That was a little bit. That was from part 3 though, when he killed the girl on the boat with the harpoon.
But
that's exactly what I said to Jason. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, that's what Chuck said. It's not even close to the same fucking thing. It's a speedboat from like hundreds of yards away.
But he was stopped. He was at least stopped.
Oh well, not really. He was still moving pretty fast. He was turning
because the girl.
He was turning the boat.
You can't explain that one. Jason's just a dead ass fucking.
That's just he's a dead fucking shot with the bow and arrow. Jason Voorhees.
Well, literally is. Yeah.
I do like the line by Dick. I don't even know if his name is Dick. My notes, I call him Dick, the guy who owns the house.
That's
Trent.
That's Trent.
Yeah,
I put him as D-bag name, Trent.
In my notes.
That's fair enough. He is a dick.
But he tells everyone shoes off the table, and he's saying all this shit about the house, and then he goes, "Mikasa is Sukasa."
Yeah. And again, there was an opportunity. There were a couple of opportunities for him to go campy and tell Jason Voorhees that he's fucking up his parents' house. And that's so disappointing because pretty much the moment that everything turns is when Clay shows up at that house searching for his sister, and he and Jenna leave. At that point, even though 2 of the most likable characters are now off into their own movie, the movie takes this right-hand turn straight into melodrama. Even though, yes, at one point Clay is talking about the magnificence of, I guess it's Bree's boobs.
Juicy tits, dude.
And they're not bad. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, she should be proud of those things. But that's when the one guy gets it's Richie, right? Who's the guy? Who is it that?
The guy who's drinking the alcohol and tries to hand the hockey stick to Jason. You're looking for this, which doesn't even come off as funny enough in that scene.
Oh no, that's Chewie. The black dude who gets axed in the back. That's way too serious of a moment for this movie.
Yeah, I mean they're trying to make you care about the kill because this guy is going to help his friend and blah blah. Yeah, it is. It's way too serious.
And it was kind of it was. He went to go look for his friend. He just wants to be a pothead. He's trying to start him. He's the only guy what he's doing outside of Clay. We know that Clay's mom was sick and that Whitney took care of her, and now mom died. It's okay, that's what we need to know about Clay. We don't need to know about this one random other dude's passion to start a rap label. All of that stuff just turned out to be, it just didn't work at that point.
It feels like the kind of writing that you use just to kind of give characters some character detail. It's we got to make them more than just surface level, so we got to throw some things in about them, but none of it is consequential.
Well, it's also we got to make the black guy stereotypical and then make a joke about it, but then be real about it, and it's that's a Michael Bay note.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Michael
kind of
Bay
like
handed that note over to. I know he did. I'm blaming Michael Bay for this.
it's kind of like the exploratory writing you do, like the backstory you give your characters that you never really talk about, but comes through in the writing.
Yeah, it's
through
like when
them
it's like
speaking
when you're writing.
naturally or
It's like when
whatever.
you're writing like up your character sheets, right?
Yes,
And-
and
Yeah,
when
you're
you're
giving
talking
them
to
not
the
going to
full
write
actor-
backstories,
dialogue.
even if you don't use it. You're writing
Yeah.
with that in mind, right? Yeah,
Right.
Yes,
And,
but they
and you
put that
take
in
that
instead.
Yeah, exactly. And you take it to the actor and say, this is who you are, you know.
Yeah.
And then the actor just decided to roll with it, and like the writer's like, fuck, I thought I took that out. And, oh,
No,
shit, I
probably
didn't.
not.
Yeah,
There were
like,
no
oh
edits.
damn it. Here's the fucking sticky note from Michael Bay. God damn it. It didn't he read it. Anyway. Yeah, there and the whole thing of like, feel bad for him. That was probably, I feel like that was a studio note too. Somebody said this movie is unreleasable with this much goofiness to it. And it's like, you dumb fucks, you bought you bought the Friday the 13th franchise and you're not going to have fun with it.
right.
And then they
Right.
say, well, we got to do something now and we got to make this third act serious or there's no stakes. It's like, well,
I mean,
there's never been stakes in these.
The first two are not that goofy, though. If you think about it, like Friday the 13th 1 and 2 are not goofy. So
Yeah,
if they're
but
trying to stick in that territory a little bit, then they wouldn't go that. They just don't handle it well. Is the
I
problem?
would say that the sequels ultimately, in retrospect, made those first couple more campy than serious in the long run. That by 2009, if you're saying, well, we need to stick to 1 and 2, then you're probably trying to still be fun with it. Like you're still trying to have a little bit of a I mean, maybe not totally stupid goofy like part 8
Right.
or whatever, but you're not trying to dial the seriousness all the way up.
Right. I mean, I think one thing that I said when I was watching this is this movie, at least for the first half, gets it. They understand what Friday the 13th is, but it lacks all the fun. Like all the fun is like sucked out of it. So overall, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think I'll watch it again probably.
Well, I mean,
for
you've
some
seen it 3
weird reason.
times.
Yeah, and I'll watch it again. So there's something there that I like, but I can't really explain it.
Yeah, I mean, and also I think what the other thing is that is it so after the credits, right? Like after that opening that we all quite liked, it then comes into the story, and I think where it starts to lose the fun is that Trent is so aggressively dickish to Clay, and there's no settling of this guy's just here looking for his sister, and this guy's being a massive douche to him.
Yeah, it's way over
It's
the
a
top.
little it's too over the top too soon.
Yep.
That should have built until he got to the place, and then he goes over the top.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
then you can say, okay, well, he's going to die in 10 minutes, so I don't really care now that he's over the top. I hope he dies,
Yeah.
See, this is the one good thing about horror movies versus reality. You can say, I hope that motherfucker dies and mean it and then be satisfied when it happens. You don't feel like a bad person.
It's true. I mean, even the best horror films have characters that sometimes you root to die, and then others that you feel really horrible when they do.
Oh, yeah.
This one only really has people you want to die.
Let me go back to part 7 as an example here. As we close out Friday the 13th, let's talk about some of the stuff that we do feel about some of the other ones. But if we go back to part 7, there's the one nerdy girl who was the same actress that was in My Mom's a Werewolf that I fucking love and would hang out and go to every horror convention with because she reads Famous Monsters of Filmland, and that's fantastic. But anyway, she gets all, like she gets a makeover and she wants to impress a guy and everything. And then she ends up dying alone in like the fucking shit house out back or whatever. That's sad. That sucks. She didn't even get to have sex. And Jason was like, fuck it. Nope. You got prettied up. Stab, stab, stab. That sucked.
Yeah.
And those are those times that you do feel something and it can still be fun, and you can still feel bad at that moment. And in the same movie, you got the hot blonde that's a bitch to everybody, and you're glad when she gets tossed behind the TV. She gets stabbed at the door and thrown behind the TV. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a pretty good cast in 7. 4, I think, has all of that stuff in spades, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like the character. Actually, almost everyone is too likable in that movie. Like everyone is really kind of likable in 4.
Well,
Yeah.
and the same thing happens in 6 too, where
That's okay with me, though, because those are my 2 favorites. I said it before, I'll say it again. The ones with the most likable people are my favorite ones.
Yeah,
I agree with that, but I like rooting for Jason sometimes too. In those movies, you don't at any point, which is fine. It doesn't make for a bad movie or a lesser experience, but I like it when you can stand on your, and go, yes, Jason, yes.
What's funny is that the one that you kind of root for him the most in is 5 when it's not Jason. Because because they all treated the one kid so fucking awful. Now, granted, I don't know if I want him around with his nasty ass chocolate bar while I'm doing laundry, but at the same time, I don't want him to get axed to shit. You kind of there's a little bit more of a motive in that one, that you kind of feel and that you kind of appreciate.
That one. So you say like Friday the 13th part, or Jason versus Freddy, you lose a little bit each time you watch it.
Yeah.
5, I like more every time I watch it.
It's that great middle piece to the Tommy Jarvis trilogy.
Yeah, and it stacks so much against itself. Like if you're a Friday the 13th fan, if you're a fan of Jason Voorhees, if you're, all the things you love about the series are taken away from you almost in that movie, which is really really ballsy.
Yeah.
Of the creators. Like
right, because those people who did 5 had just a couple of years prior watched Halloween 3 fucking fall flat on its face because it took everything away that you liked about the first 2 Halloween movies.
Yeah.
So they were like, we can try, I guess. It actually, it didn't succeed at the time, but in the long run, it does.
Yeah. Agreed.
I mean, I also want to kind of explain why I say if they don't make any more Friday the 13th movies, I'm not exactly unhappy with the prospect of that. Number one, I think there's a little bit of the backstory of Jason Voorhees that is a little dicey to do these days, which is to make the deformed, mentally handicapped kid a monster. You have to excise that completely, or you have to do something different with that to not make that the case. Then on top of that, you almost can't set it in the present because you're always going to have a reason why somebody can't fucking pull out their cell phone and call somebody. Because I don't want to see a series of movies where every movie somebody says, "Oh, can't get reception." So you maybe almost have to set it in the 80s and go full on, just full on homage to 80s slashers, which also means that it's going to get a little goofy at times. And you almost have to kind of steer into that a little bit. But at the same time, you want to set something in the 80s, people are going to go to 80s with it. And it's not going to feel right either. I mean, they're going to try to pay homage to the entire decade instead of 1983 or whatever year they want to set it in. And I worry about that. But I don't know.
I think as long as somebody is still making good slasher movies, I don't care if there's a Friday the 13th movie. But it seems like there's a big lack of that good slasher movie lately. So if a Friday the 13th movie was to be released, I'd be like first in line.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, the other thing also is that nowadays, a lot of these types of movies, and we saw it with particularly with Halloween Kills, they want to go a little more brutal.
Yeah.
And for me, you can make a kill scene fun and something you can kind of laugh at. Halloween Kills made me feel bad. I mean, we did that review. I felt bad watching it.
Well, Screams was really brutal, but
it was fun.
Also,
yeah. Those were actually my favorite parts of that new Scream movie was the kills, because they were fun, even though, but that's also because Screamface is also a brutal killer.
Right.
His weapon is brutal. So, there's the, it's kind of like, if you make a good Leatherface movie, I'm not going to be super upset if he slashes somebody with a chainsaw.
Right. Or destroys a whole bus with one.
Yeah, that was just ridiculous.
I loved it.
I mean, it was probably the best scene, but there was also too little too late for me.
Yeah, we don't need to cover that ground again anyway. We did that.
We don't need to cover the ground of me disliking a lot of more recent horror sequels.
I do want to say that I love a scene like that in a slasher. It's my favorite scene in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. It's my favorite scene in Hellraiser 3, right? Yeah. When like the chaos is at its peak, right? No, it's not a good movie, but that's a fun scene.
Sure. I think part of what made that kind of fun and kind of like Pinraiser is still like really, really scary is when you see all of the blood come out under the door.
Are you renaming him right now?
Yeah.
Pinraiser.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, the blood all comes out at the door.
Hellhead, right? Hellhead is the name?
Hellhead.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
Remember when we watched all those movies, Jason, and at one point during Hell World? Dead World, whatever, and I threw something at the TV. I was fucking done with that series at that point.
Was that the one that was like kind of in the internet and stuff with the video game or something?
And Henry Cavill's in it.
Yeah, Henry Cavill's in it. Yeah, that's a bad one.
That's real bad.
Yep.
Anyway, you know what? We've gone 13 years, and there hasn't been another Friday the 13th. I don't even know if I expect one to actually happen at this point.
Didn't they just clear up all the rights issues last year?
Fuck, I need somebody would say that right after I was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm done.
I mean, it's true, though, that we will probably get another one at some point, I would imagine.
Well, the name sells too many T-shirts or something. I don't know. It sells something. Hockey masks. This does only have a 26% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Ooh. I remember the reception being better, but
yeah, I mean, well, Cinema Score gave it a B-. That's probably about right.
Yeah,
all things considered, for what was going on in the late odds. Yeah, that's probably about right. Yeah.
Because what do we have? What else do we have in the late aughts, horror-wise? Like,
Paranormal Activity was launched.
Was it kind of like the last
install?
Saw's been going around for a while. A lot of remakes, if I remember correctly. Lots are just
because Platinum Dunes was out there remaking The Hitcher, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Friday the 13th. The next year they do Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all for new horror. Or even like a reinvention of an old style would be fine. Kind of like Scream did in the late 90s.
We did have some good stuff in 2009. There was a little bit of a hope is on the horizon because Zombieland came out that year. Jennifer's Body, Orphan, Drag Me to Hell, House of the Devil, Pandorum, which is totally underrated, Triangle. I mean, there's some good horror in 2009 and a lot of remakes.
Now, I think that there is a possibility to do exactly what I wanted because pretty much what I explained was the better Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie we got this year, X.
Oh, yes.
So there's a possibility for somebody to come along and do it in the right era with the right way that it looks, with the right feel, without it going over the top with the we're making a costume drama at this point, where it's like everybody's dressed like fucking Zach Morris all of a sudden, which honestly
that to me was the perfect example of how to pastiche an old horror film without making a remake, right?
Right.
I mean, people really just need to do that more.
Yeah.
Like, just make up your own original shit. Don't wink at the camera. Don't wink at the audience. Just use a lot of the aesthetic as a template.
That is so. With that said, I also don't want people to think that all of the independent horror is created equal in that same regard too, because they're all trying to pay homage to the 70s and 80s as well. The problem is that they lean so far into it that they tend to add effects to make it look like film stock, to make it look like it's missing stuff, to make it look like there's bad that there are bad edits in it.
Yeah.
And I've seen some of those movies that do hardly any of that.
Yeah.
A really good one's called The Sleeper. It has a brief moment with Joe Bob Briggs at the end, which is pretty awesome. But there are movies that I've seen that go way over the top with that, to the point where it becomes distracting and you can't watch the movie anymore.
For sure.
So there are ways, there are people out there who are doing some independent stuff that is halfway decent in that regard. And there are some people out there who are trying to make serious horror movies independently. And there are some people who are making good horror comedies out there. Now, there are some people who are trying to make slashers way too campy, which might take that other piece of advice that I had earlier and take that and run with it too far. And it's not good. But, there are people out there who understand what makes these types of movies work. And unfortunately, this movie almost does it until that final act. Yeah. And then it decides to become super serious when it didn't really have to be, with the minor the laugh of Trent screaming like a girl, which is just great. I'm always for that.
Yes, always welcome.
Yeah. So anyway,
well, have we done it then?
I've got nothing more on this.
Because next week, back to our regular schedule, we do have a movie that does not take itself seriously, but that does know how to use horror tropes very much in its favor.
I'm really hoping that this movie we got coming up here, this Tucker and Dale movie.
Yep.
I'm hoping it makes me think fondly of it, like I would say Evil Dead.
I think so.
Okay.
I think that it uses a little bit of Evil Dead to its advantage too. And
go ahead, Jason.
To me, the best way to describe Tucker and Dale is it's Rashomon. And it's genius for being Rashomon.
Yeah, without Trent, I don't even know what that means.
And that doesn't even really give anything away. Like, it's pretty clear what they're doing almost right from the start. And they just keep doing it, and it keeps crescendoing in it, and it is just so much fun.
Yeah, this is one of those movies that surprised the absolute shit out of me when I watched it.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm going to watch this dumb horror movie, and I was like, that's actually really fucking good.
Yeah.
And smart. It's kind of like, maybe not on the level of One Cut of the Dead, but that kind of surprising in its use of the genre. It's good. Yeah, I like it.
Fantastic. Well, I have one last thing to say about generally Friday the 13th as a day. This isn't the last time we're going to do something like this. Friday the 13th is where this whole series was born. So there are opportunities to talk about fan-made films. There are a ton of them out there. Some of them are actually really, really well made. Some of them are well made because of the limitations that the people had. Some of them are good just because they're short, they get to the point, and they don't overstay their welcome, which is also great. So there are some stuff like that. There are some movies like, The Burning and the Sleepaway Camp movies and other movies like that where we can tip our hat to Friday the 13th. I can think of several movies that would fall into that I think we could work from as well. So the specials will keep happening on Friday the 13th until we run out of ideas or we just decide to stop it. So, yeah, there will be an 11th special. I know not every special has been about the Friday the 13th movies, but there may be other specials that happen just because we want to talk about something else that doesn't fit into a schedule. So there's that. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, that's where you can follow us. That's where you find out where things happen. As Jason and Chuck were talking about, Tucker and Dale versus Evil next Wednesday when we get back to our regularly scheduled program. I am doing my regularly scheduled program called Monster Mondays every Monday. Unfortunately, I can't do specials on that because it's got to be on a Monday, and I do it on Monday anyway. So there's that. But this upcoming Monday is The Revenge of Frankenstein. All the same places. You can follow Film Seizure. You can find out when those Monster Mondays business happens. If you want to continue to read more about Friday the 13th, go over to my website, bmovieenema.com, and read my article on Friday the 13th, Part 8, which is one we've talked about here. But I'm in slightly different mode over there. So you will not hear the same things I talked about when we did that special a couple of years ago. And then tomorrow, B Movie Enema, the series, episode number 2 of season 3, Let Sleeping Corpses Lie. A nice little Spanish-Italian zombie movie that's made to look like it takes place in England, like a good Spanish-Italian horror movie would. So do those things at bmovieenema.com, but more importantly, come back here Monday and Wednesday of next week, filmseizure.com, to listen to Monster Mondays and our next regular episode of Film Seizure. So with that said, we put Jason Voorhees back into Crystal Lake, possibly more or less forever, except for those fan movie. Anyway, whatever. I'm Jeff Arbuckle.
I'm Jason Snorhees.
Oh my! You've been listening to Film Seizure, guys. It was good. It was good.
Bye.
Bye.